Hello, everyone, and welcome to 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host this morning, Logan Landers, and today I'm going to be breaking down the college football playoff semifinal between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Cincinnati Bearcats. A tale of David and Goliath, Alabama always on top, it seems, and Cincinnati, the young, plucky underdog, coming in from out of nowhere, hoping to pull off the upset of the college football 2021 season. I can't wait to break it down and let you know what's going to be going on in this game and who I think, more importantly, is going to win. But before I get started, be sure if you enjoy this content here today, whether you're watching us live with video on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, like, comment, share it, and subscribe to the channel for amazing football content. We put out a heck of a lot of stuff each and every week. And if you haven't done so already, please go check out our podcast at 100 Yards Football, thanks to the Believe Podcast Network. We are available anywhere podcasts are able to be streamed, like Spotify, Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio, you name it, and we are over there. And if not, well, please let us know, because we will definitely get that fixed and get you over there so you can listen to some more great football content. We got amazing Legends interviews, history specials, draft prospects, recruiting classes, game previews, history special. I mean, there's just so much going on, guys, and it comes out every single day. We're getting close to, I believe, 600 episodes, so there is a ton of content for you to go in there, fall down the rabbit hole, as everyone says, and enjoy some amazing football talk with the cast and crew of 100 Yards Football. All right, enough talk. Let's get into the bread and butter, the meat and potatoes, the one that everyone is talking about. Alabama, Cincinnati, who's going to come with the win? Who's going to go home empty-handed? And who's going to clinch their first spot in the national championship game? If you want to see who I picked against Michigan and Georgia, please, I did a video on Monday, so go check that out on the page and up on the podcast as well, and you can see who I think one of these teams are going to face. All right, so Alabama, right? The Crimson Tide led by, arguably some might say the greatest head coach in college football history, Nick Saban, the legend, the GOAT. Oh, man, and what a team he has. I mean, Heisman finalist, Heisman winner, Bryce Young, check, looking really good there. How could you not talk about the young man? 4,322 yards, 68% completion percentage, 43 touchdowns, only 4 INTs. Not too bad of a year, if I do say so myself. So he already got the quarterback right there of the future for another NFL team. You see Mac Jones doing good right now, Tua Tagovailoa rocking it with the Dolphins, and Bryce Young is seemingly headed to the NFL very soon to hopefully make a NFL team a whole lot better. All right, but it's not just him, right? It's not just the one-man show with Bryce Young throwing a bunch of yards, throwing a bunch of touchdowns. It's the team around him that helps him out. Brian Robinson Jr., the running back, ran for over 1,000 yards this season, 14 touchdowns on the ground. It kind of feels like Robinson might get the short end of the stick a little bit here, because he had a tremendous year, over 1,000 yards rushing, almost 5 yards a carry, and 14 touchdowns on the ground with 223 attempts. They are not afraid to give the ball to the big man and to give it a heck of a run. So watch out for him this upcoming game. All right, now for the receiving core. They're not perfect. They are missing a key piece. John Mechie III is going to be out. He led the team this year with 96 catches, second on the team in receiving yards with 1,142 with 8 touchdowns. So he is going to be a key piece that is out for this game. So they're hoping that Jameson Williams, the number 2 guy on the team, right, with 68 catches, 1,445 yards, so a little bit more than Mechie, 21.3 average per catch, good gracious, and leading the team with 15 touchdowns. So both of those guys, it wasn't a 1 and 2, it was a 1A and 1B, right? So they do have Williams. We'll see what he can do. They're definitely going to be targeting him. If you're Cincinnati, who has a tremendous secondary, I'll get to that in just a moment. So watch out for Williams. Of course, he's not alone, though. We got Slade Bolden right there. 32 catches, 333 yards. Cameron Littau, 20 catches, almost 300. and 6 touchdowns for the tight end. And also, like I mentioned, Brian Robinson Jr., not afraid to get it done in the passing game as well, has 31 catches on the year with 2 touchdowns to boot. So they have a dangerous receiving core. All right, let's get to the kicking game. I always like to mention kickers on this show because could be a crucial part of who comes away with the victory in these matchups. So let's talk about the kicking game for Alabama. We have Will Reichard, 68 of 69 for extra points, almost perfect. However, field goals made, 16 of 20. So not unscathed completely, right? Only an 80% clip. So I'm looking at the numbers here. He's 7 of 8 in between the 30 to 39 hash marks. He's 5 of 7 from 40 to 49, and he's only 1 of 2 when it comes to 50 plus yarders. So if it is a little bit of a longer drive, right, and Alabama just can't move the ball, it might not be cash money, right? It might not be right at 100% that Mr. Reichard will get the kick off and will get it through the uprights in this one. So that's always something I like to look out for in these key matchups. But let's talk about the defense for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And how could you not, right? Henry To'oTo'o leading the team with 100 tackles even on the year. Came over from Tennessee, and he has looked absolutely dominating. Also has 4 sacks on the year. So a really great year for the young man. And, of course, Will Anderson Jr., the linebacker, leading the squad with 15 and a half sacks. Let me look again. 15 and a half. Good grief. Also 91 tackles for the amazing prospect. So also Mathis, the D lineman, has 8 sacks on the year right behind him, and Dallas Turner, the other linebacker, with 5.5. So they are not afraid to get to the quarterback. They had 46 sacks in total this season, and good grief. And also, let's talk about the secondary. The secondary needs some love. Brian Branch, 7 passes defended, looking great. Amar Davis, 4. Josh Jobe, he might play, we don't know yet, with 4. And DeMarco Hellmans with 3. They had 37 pass defend this year. They had 15 interceptions and the secondary and the linebacking core. Hellmans with 3. Davis with 3. Jordan Battle with 3. And also Josh Jobe with 2. So right there. So they have a bunch of guys who are ball hawks on this Alabama team. I know that, the majority of the year people were getting on their defense saying it's not as top-notch as it has been in years past. But, hey, they did a good job against Georgia. And when the lights get bright, man, I don't know what it is, but something about Alabama and all their players, all their other coaches, it just seems to go to a next level. So I think overall the Alabama is a great team. There's a reason they are ranked number 1 right now. There's a reason they beat Georgia a few weeks ago. And there's a reason that this team is dangerous. They put up about 42.5 points per game. They look absolutely dominating at times. So we'll see what they can do against the Cincinnati Bearcats, who I'm going to talk about right now. So Cincinnati, right, the number 4 team right now, had a very great 2021 season. Did good in 2020 as well, but just was not able to sneak into the college football playoff. They couldn't deny it this year. They had a bunch of really good wins. And now it's time on Friday, December the 31st at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to go up against the Giants, the Alabama Crimson Tide. They had a really good regular season. You could throw all that out the window, right? Because now it is the time to put up or shut up if you are Cincinnati. Are you going to prove that you are worthy, right, of having this spot in the college football playoff and being the first group of 5 team to come in here? Or are you going to, everyone else in the media, all the other naysayers saying that Cincinnati should not be here? It should be another team. We will see. But let's break down who is on their team, who's going to do what, and how they're going to get it done. So Desmond Ritter, we've talked about him a good bit here on the show, had a very good 2021 season. 65.9% completion percentage, not too shabby. Over 3,000 yards in the air, 9.9 even for average. 30 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So a very good season for him. He was sacked 20 times this year. And I forgot to mention for Bryce Young, he was sacked a total of 33. So Ritter is able to, we'll just say, elude the pocket a little bit, right, and not get as many sacks. But you also need to take into account the teams that Cincinnati had played this year. And, of course, with Alabama, you're going to be facing a lot more talented guys for a lot more bigger schools. So we'll take that into factor as well. So Desmond Ritter, very good quarterback. We've talked about him a good bit here on the show. I think he's going to have a good game. Jerome Ford, the running back, You watch out for him because he is a dangerous man. Junior from Tampa, Florida, 200 yards or 200 attempts this year, over 1,000 yards rushing, 6.2 average per carry. That's amazing. And 19 touchdowns. So if Alabama can stop the run, and then if they can stop the tank known as Jerome Ford, that's going to be a big factor in this ball game. But we'll see what the young man can do. Desmond Ritter, like I had mentioned, he can get it done on his feet, 100 yards, 100 attempts rushing this year, 371 yards, and 6 touchdowns on the feet. So he's able to get it done in both ways as a dual threat quarterback. So we'll see. Desmond Ritter, Jerome Ford, a dangerous combo, just like Brian Robinson Jr. and, you guessed it, Bryce Young. So we'll see what those dynamic duos can do and who's going to be the better team this upcoming week. But let's keep going here. So Cincinnati has a good receiving core as well. Alec Pierce, the wide receiver, led the team with 50 catches and 867 yards this year. 8 touchdowns to boot, 17.3 average per catch. Looking really good there. Tyler Scott, 26 receiving yards, 447, 18.3, 5 touchdowns this year. And also Josh Weil, the tight end, 25 catches, 320 yards, and 6 touchdowns for the big man. Also, Leonard Taylor, got to throw him in there as well. The other tight end with 4 touchdowns and 27 catches. So they are not afraid to get it done. Jerome Ford, he can do a little bit in the backfield as well. Had 18 catches this year for 209 yards and 1 score. So they're even on that. And I would say I would give the slight edge to Alabama just in terms of they got the ball to Brian Robinson a little bit more. But overall, I think that this is a very good matchup here. So the kicking game, like I mentioned, because that is crucial in terms of, if you can get a good kickoff, if you can get some good punts. So this is a little bit interesting because Cole Smith, the kicker, it was reported that he is nursing an undisclosed injury, and it is unclear if he will dress for the Cotton Bowl against Alabama. So we will see. You got to think that if it's definitely a minor injury, he'll be in there, but we are not sure. It's undisclosed. I'm getting this information off of boydsbets.com, who is listing all of the injuries at this moment in college football. So we will see if Cole Smith will be available for the kicking game. If not, it's going to be it's definitely going to change the momentum for Cincinnati, make them a little bit more urgent, perhaps. So they do have. So let me go with Cole Smith first. Break down what he's going to be doing, like if he is available to play. 34-35 for extra points, very solid. 3 of 5 from field goals. So don't kick many field goals at all this year. So that's not the best. But man, you got to think that if the kicking game can ever have a heck of a day, this is going to be it, right? They've also had some other guys in here. Alec Bales, 12 of 13 extra points, 2 of 5 from field goals. Not special. Christian Lowry, 20 of 20 from extra points, and 2 of 4 from the field goals this past season. So we'll see, because, it seems like they are not really set for a really good kicking game. It's not their strong suit. So I am definitely giving the clear advantage to the Crimson Tide in this category. On to defense, right? This is the one that everyone likes to talk about, that everyone is intrigued by. The secondary for the Bearcats going up against the talented receiving core for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Cody Bryant, man. Hey, what more can you say? 40 tackles this year. 11 passes defended, and 3 INTs. And you can't talk about Cody Bryant and not bring up his partner in crime, Ahmad Gardner, guy who we did a draft prospect special on a couple of weeks ago, I believe. And he had a good year too. 3 interceptions for him, 35 tackles, also 3 sacks for the young man. But let's not forget about the other one, the linebacker, Deshaun Pace, 4 INTs, 86 tackles this year. And watch out for Joel Dublanco, 5.5 sacks this year, led the team. And also 106 total tackles, led the way in that regard as well. So this is a really good defense, right? Darian Beavers as well, 88 tackles. Brian Cook, the safety, gets some work in there as well with 9 passes defended. So, man, this defense for Cincinnati has been really good. I'm looking at some of the teams that they had faced here this past season. I see 14 points. 7 points. Against Notre Dame, they only gave up 13 points in that win. So a very good one there. Against Houston, they gave up only 20 points. So their largest, the biggest amount of points they gave up this year is 28. So That's not too bad, right? I think that is a definite key to watch out for because they have a talented group here on the defensive line, the linebacking core, and in the secondary with your D backs and your safeties. So, man, this is a tough one because you got to root for the underdog a little bit, right? You want to see the big bad boys go down. You want to see Alabama go down. If you're, of course, if you're not an Alabama fan, right? And if you're if you're Alabama, you're hoping that this is just a breeze. You can walk through Cincinnati on your way to another championship game. Another thing about Cincinnati, they score about 38 points a game, looking good there. So a little bit less than Alabama. So it's going to be interesting. I hope this is a good game, but I think the big key for me will be the kicking game. Cincinnati, it seems like they just have not been able to get it going this year. Their number one kicker might not be there, and like I mentioned with some of the stats, it might not be a pretty show for all the other guys behind him. So for my final score in this Cotton Bowl matchup between Alabama and Cincinnati, moving on to the College Football National Championship, I am going to go with the Alabama Crimson Tide 34 and the Cincinnati Bearcats 20. A 14-point favorite. I'm giving it to the Crimson Tide. Roll Tide. Coach Nick Saban's going to have these guys prepared. And if you're Cincinnati, I would not hang your head one bit at all this year because they have done tremendous things. They've done things that we're going to be looking at 5-10 years from now and saying that, this Cincinnati team in 2020, 2021, they did something special. And I think that overall, it's going to be a good game. Like I said, I got Alabama by 14. But watch, Coach Luke Fickell with the Bearcats, nothing to hang your head down. And he won the Home Depot Coach of the Year. So he's looking good there. But I got to give it to Alabama, man. How could you not? The experience factor. And I just think the talent is just a little bit greater. But I think Cincinnati's going to start off strong, though, right? I think it's going to be close in the first quarter. And then once Alabama can adjust and then start picking them apart, I think that's really going to be the key because that's what they did with Georgia, right? They really came out the gates and they just beat down Georgia, put up the most amount of points they had given up this season. And I think that that's what Alabama's going to do once again for this very stingy and tight-knit defense for the Bearcats. I just think the offense is a little bit too potent for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and I think the defense will also step up big. And like I mentioned before, the kicking game for Alabama is just a little bit better, and I think that's what led to my decision to have the Crimson Tide win this ball game. So, all in all, if you guys enjoyed this here today, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you're watching us live on Facebook, YouTube, or on Twitch. We surely appreciate it. We go live each and every week with amazing content like these game previews here, history specials, looking at some of the game's greatest players, greatest teams. Also, amazing Legends interviews with some of the game's greatest minds when it comes to broadcasters, former players, and basketball, and baseball, and football. You name it, we have them here on the show. And please check out our podcast if you haven't done so already at 100 Yards of Football. We go live, or we have over, I'm getting close to 600, I think, 600 episodes available for your listening pleasure. Like I mentioned, with all that great stuff, thanks to the Believe Podcast Network. Available anywhere podcasts are able to be streamed, whether you're watching us at home, just chilling in your free time, on your way to work, cooking some dinner potentially for these within these holidays, or just, if you just want to, if you're bored and you want to throw on a great episode of 100 Yards of Football, we have a ton of amazing content here with our entire crew at the team at 100 Yards of Football. So, all in all, I have been your host, Logan Landers, and you've been listening to my predictions for the Cincinnati Bearcats and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Please go check out the Georgia and Michigan video I did on Monday with my guy, Jeremiah Long, and see who I predicted to win in that one and who I think will ultimately be in the College Football National Championship. So, all in all, I do, like I said, let me just reiterate, I have the Crimson Tide getting the win in this one against the Bearcats, moving on in victory and trying to get another national championship. So, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I've been your host, Logan Landers. You guys stay tuned because we have some more great content coming up to you in just a little bit. We'll see you then.